Recently, I did my first Club 100 race at the brand new Silverstone Karting Track. This was actually the first event at Silverstone, so no one has had any practice yet. Here's how the weekend went. On Friday, I went to the track for some practice. We only got 22 minutes of track time, and as it was pouring with rain, a lot of people were spinning out, so most of the sessions were under yellows. I was hoping to get used to both the car and the track today, but because of the yellow flags, I didn't really have an opportunity to learn how the car handled. This weekend was all about learning how Club 100 worked and getting used to the karts, because before this weekend, the only time I'd driven them was last September at Butmore Park, so I would be allowed to race for the championship. The result wasn't really my main concern, but I'm obviously trying to finish as high as possible. On Saturday, it was time for the races, but first we had a short practice session and qualifying. It had rained overnight, so the track was pretty wet again, but it was sunny now, so it was drying every session. I only got 2 clean laps this practice session because I either had to overtake people or slow down for yellows, so qualifying is going to be interesting. Because the track is so long, it takes around a minute and 20 seconds to do a lap in the wet, so we only got about 6 laps of qualifying. This meant track position would be super important. To find a clean space on track, you had 2 options. You could try and overtake the slower karts in front of you to get to your position, or you could slow down at the start of the session and leave a gap to the karts ahead. That's what I decided to do. This worked well for the first lap, and I put in a time good enough for P15 out of 25. However, on lap 2, I caught right back up to the karts ahead that I'd left a gap to, which meant I wasn't able to improve. Later on, I had some clear track and was on an amazing lap, which I think would have been good enough for a top 10 at the time, but I had to slow down for another yellow flag, which meant I couldn't improve yet again. This meant I qualified P20 in my group, which put me P18 in the pre-B final. I knew that my pace was better than that though, so I was hoping to move forward in the race. Unfortunately, Club 100 banned cameras for the races this season, but my parents were able to record from the side of the track. This start sequence was new to me, but I was able to get a really good start and made up 3 or 4 places before turn 1. However, being stuck on the outside of the track meant I lost all of those places at turn 1, and being on the outside at turn 3 meant I fell down to around P25. For the rest of the race I was overtaking and battling. I made some really good moves, but unfortunately some of the good ones are out of view from the camera, including one from lap 1 where I went around the outside of 2 karts into one of the hairpins. After a lot of battling and overtaking, I was able to get back up to P18 where I started. I was pretty happy at this race, as even while battling and overtaking, my pace was good enough to fight for a top 10. Unfortunately, I'm starting on the outside again for the B final in P16. This time I got an amazing start, and I think I was up about 5 places before there was a crash in turn 1. I had to go wide to avoid it and fell down quite far again around P20. I was able to get back up into P13 by the end of the lap, so I made up a decent amount of places. A few laps later, I got into a battle with the cars behind, and after a few laps of hard battling, I was pushed out wide and was back down in P15. However, after a couple minutes I was able to catch back up to the pack again, but I didn't really have a good chance to overtake. On the final lap, I was battling with the guys behind and they pipped me to the line by 0.03 seconds, which put me back in P16 where I started. After the race, someone ahead of me was disqualified for being below weight, so I was bumped back up into P15. I was really happy with this race actually, as I had the pace to fight for a top 5. This was definitely the most fun I've ever had in a kart, and the new Silverstone track was awesome. I'm hoping to come again in my kart later this year. I learnt loads this weekend, and I'm going to try a few things on the sim, mainly braking related, and start preparing for Wilton in April. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.